Okay, we're looking at that question, the first problem in your workbook that asks you what is the LCD of those two big fractions. And I'm going to be honest, I don't want to do those yet. Okay, well, I want to first talk about when it's necessary to find an LCD, and it's necessary to find an LCD when we combine fractions, add or subtract. In the last lesson, we got really lucky because every single denominator is matched, so that was really easy. Well, we want to talk about how do we find an LCD. So I'm going to hold the challenge question, and I'm going to go to a simpler question. I'm going to go right here. Okay, I'm going to discuss how it is you really get an LCD, which is actually in your workbook. It says how to get an LCD. And the first thing is you look at the coefficient. And we look at the denominator. So you look at the coefficients, or the numbers, okay, and we see a 5 and a 3. If you had a 5 and a 3 as denominators, your LCD would be 15. So you do that like you always did. In fact, if you remember how we did it in Mod 4, what we did was we took the biggest number, 5, and we took multiples of 5 until we got to a multiple in which 3 could go divide into without a remainder. So the LCD is 15. Then we look at the letters. Now, there's two ways to look at this. One way is to say we need every single letter, every single factor, and these are all factors. That's important. The LCD is made up of factors. We need every single factor we see. And listen, we need every single factor we see to the largest amount of times it appears in any one denominator. What the hell did I just say? Watch. For instance, x. X appears here twice and here once. I don't add that up. I say the biggest number is 2, so I need my x twice. I know I need a y because I see a y as a factor, so then I do the same thing for y's. How many times do I see a y? Well, I see a y once here, I see a y twice here, so I needed the biggest amount of times twice. So that's my LCD. 15x squared, y squared, all attached by multiplication. Once you get the number and the letters, you multiply them together, okay? Now, here's the deal. The deal is that it's actually the opposite of the greatest common factor, because we're actually using the largest exponent we see, and the least common denominator, we're actually using the smallest. So it's actually the opposite of the LCD. So let's revisit the challenge problem, and let's take a look at it, and we'll get the LCD for that. Okay, here's the deal. We need an LCD, and this is a comma, because I just want to just play right now and finding the LCD. We're not going to add them, we're not going to subtract it, but it said find an LCD. So here we go. First of all, these have to be factored, because before we had factors. We need factors because the LCD is made up of factors. So the first thing I'm going to do is factor this, and you know how to factor by now. This is 4 times the quantity a minus 5. And this, of course, already is factored. Okay, so now, here's what I'm going to do. Remember, we need every single factor we see, the maximum number of times it appears in any one denominator. So I'm going to start with the number. I see a 4 there. There's just a 1 there. There's nothing there but that 1. So the LCD is definitely 4. Now, I definitely need an a minus 5 because I see as a factor. We just have to determine how many times we need a minus 5. I see a minus 5 once here. I see a minus 5 twice here. The biggest amount of times I see it is twice. So the LCD is 4 times the quantity a minus 5 quantity squared. The largest amount of times you see it in any one denominator. You do not add those. And that's how you do it. That's how you find the LCD. Now we're going to practice doing it. So in a minute, I'll do a couple with you. Okay, let's take a look at this. These already are factors. We don't have to worry about it. So we have to look at the numbers first. So we look at the 4, we look at the 9, we look at the 2. I'm going to take multiples of 9 until I get one where we all can go into that. 9, 18, no, 4 doesn't go into 18. 27, no, 4 doesn't go, 4 or 2 doesn't go into 27. 36, yep, winner, winner. 36, all of them go into 36. So the LCD for the number, the coefficient is 36. Now, I need an A. Well, I see an A once here, twice here, once here. The biggest number I just said was twice. Okay, so that is the LCD. I do not add them. The greatest number of times it appears in any one place, or just pick the A with the highest exponent, and the highest exponent is a squared. That's the easiest way to do it. Okay, so that one's done. We're not doing anything with it. Let's take a look at this one. This one is different from this one because this one has terms here. This one had factors. But we need factors. So guess what we have to do again? Yes, yes, yes. We have to factor this. What a thrill for you. Notice again, we're not worried about the numerators. Okay, just the denominators. We're finding the least common denominator. Okay, so here we go. Difference of two squares, y and y, 7 and 7, plus and minus. Okay? And now here, we already have standard form, no GCF, there's 3 terms, we're going to make 2 parentheses. Signs are different because the last term is negative. Y squared can only be y and y. 35 is 7 and 5 and 35 and 1. So I bet you it's 5 here, 7 here. Let's check it. Positive 5y, negative 7y is a negative 2y. We have it. Okay, now we have to worry about the LCD. We have no numbers outside. Okay, we have to look at our factors. I know I need a y plus 7 because it's a factor somewhere. Now I just have to figure out how many times I need it. I see it once here and no times here, so I just need it once. The y minus 7, I see it once here and once here, so I need it once. Don't add them. The maximum number of times it appears in any one place, or the base to the highest exponent, which is 1. And then finally the y plus 5. I see it no times here. I see it once here. I need it once. That is my LCD. I would not multiply this LCD through. I would leave it as factors. You'll see why in the next lesson. So that's it. That's my LCD. We have 3 more I'd like to do together, and then I'm going to give you some to do. Okay, let's take a look. X minus 3, there's nothing we can do there because that's linear. This looks like a mess. Okay, we're going to have to factor out a 3x. And we get x squared minus 9x. Nope, not 9, 6. Right? Because we're dividing by 3. So everything gets divided by 3x. So x squared minus 6x plus 9. Okay, now we're going to have to factor that. That's 3x, make 2. X squared is x and x. Signs are the same as the middle. 9 can be 3 and 3 or 9 and 1. I'm going to try 3 and 3. And that's a winner. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Okay, here we go. Now, we're comparing that to this x minus 3. This is that denominator. This is this denominator. Now we got to see. Okay, numbers outside. We have no numbers outside. These are terms. We have to think of this as one thing because it's terms. Okay, so we need a 3. We need an x. I see an x here once. I see an x here no times. This does not count. This x is not a factor. I know I need an x minus 3. Let's see how many times I need it. I see it once here, but I see it twice here, so I need it twice. That's it. That's my LCD. Pretty cool? Pretty cool. I got to tell you, number 4 is easy, looks easy, but somehow everybody thinks it's really hard. Think about it. You got to think about the difference of factors and terms. I can't think of this as 2 separate things because they are terms. So I have to think of this as one whole thing. Okay? So let's see. I have no numbers on the bottom, so I need an x. But I see one x here, no x's here as a factor. This x doesn't count. And you go, well, that's not a factor. Well, any number a letter just alone is a factor because I can put a 1 there, 1 times x. So that's a factor. Okay? Now, I also see x minus 1. I see x minus 1 once here, no times there, so I need it once. That is my LCD. You'll see why that makes sense in the next lesson. But that is my LCD, and I am done. Okay? Next question. Y minus 5. Can't factor that. It's linear. I've got to think of this as one whole thing because they're terms. I have a rash. So I'm going to turn this around. You know what else I'm going to do? Factor out a negative 1. Now, here's the deal. I see a negative 1. I see it once. I need it once. I see a y minus 5. I see it once here and once here. So the maximum number of times I see it is once. So that's my LCD. I actually have another choice here, but I'm going to follow everything I've done, I'm going to use this. So that's the LCD, and I'm done. Now there are a couple for you to practice, and then we're done. So would you practice the next 5 and click back when you're ready to begin and check your answers. All right, let's see how you did. These are all factored already, so I looked at the numbers first. My LCD between 3 and 9 is 9. I need an A, but I see it once. I see it no time, so I need it once. I need an X. I see it once. I see it 3 times, so I need it 3 times. This is my LCD done. Okay, I love those because they're easy. They're factored already. The whole point is they have to be factored at the start. So guess what this means for this? I have to factor it. So I'm going to pull out a GCF of 2. Divide by 2, I'm going to get y squared minus 16. Yes, I'm not done. This is not linear. I check two terms, difference of two squares, and yes, it is. Y minus 4, y plus 4. So that's this one. This guy is just y minus 4. I have to think of that as one thing because they're terms. So now I look at these. I have the number 2 out here. I have no number out here. So my LCD is 2. I need a y minus 4, but I see it once. I see it once, so I need it once. Don't add them together. I need a y plus 4. I see it once. I see it nonce. No times here. So I need it once. I need every factor I see. So this is my LCD. Okay? This one, I have to factor my life away. Okay. Here we have the difference of two squares, which is x plus 1, x minus 1. Here, last term is positive, tells me my signs are the same, so they're both negative. X squared is x and x. 2 is 2 and 1. So these are my factors here. These are my factors here. Here we go. We're going to get an LCD. We need an x plus 1. I see it once here. No times here, so I need it once. X minus 1. I see it once here, so I need it once. Don't add those. I know you want to. Don't do it. Okay? And then finally, one other factor that I don't have up here is the x minus 2. I see it once here, no times here, so I need it once. That's it. We are done. That is your LCD for each of the three of them. There are 2 left. So let me get them up quick, and we can do those. All right, let's see how you did here. Remember, I cannot separate these two because they're terms. So I see a 6, but I only see a 6 here, not here. 6 is not a factor there. So I only see a 6 here. So I see a 6 once. I need it once. And then I see an x minus 6. I see it once here, nonce here, so I need it once. So that is my LCD. Do not multiply that through. We are done with this problem. One more. Here we go. All right. Rash, right? I have a rash. This is g minus 10. That's it. I'm not going to do anything with it. This is negative g plus 10. That makes me crazy. I'm going to take out this negative 1. I get g minus 10. See how nice that is to compare? I'm comparing this with this. Okay? So my LCD, I see a negative 1, but I see it once here, no times there. Now I got to think of this as one thing because it's terms. I see a g minus 10. Once here, that's it. I need it once. And that's my LCD. Again, you have another choice there, and you'll see why in the next lesson. But that's it. That's how you get the LCDs. You have to know how to factor. Next lesson, we'll talk about how we're going to use this LCD.